Hi, welcome to Dharma.tv. This is show number 9, and I would like to continue to discuss emptiness and in this show, and also I have a terrific question that was sent in that I would like to respond to, and please let's begin with 1 minute of emptiness. 1 minute of meditation. Okay. So in our discussion of emptiness, the uh, technical description of emptiness is no center, no edge, no size, no color, um, and also clarity, and also constant change. And we can um, interpret that constant change as constant movement or movement in emptiness. Now, what we discussed last time was how that movement affects us, how that movement can be regarded as a steady state of movement, always there. It is something that we are always encountering no matter what we're doing, even if we're sitting in silence, or if we're driving a car, or we are engaged in conversation, or whatever it is we're doing. So that steady state is constantly there. In that steady state, anything can happen. And this is why we talk about accidents and things like that, because anything can take place in emptiness, in the steady state of emptiness. So the energy is constantly there. Now, what it normally does is it initiates for us conceptual thought forms that rise. So let's say we see a horse. Right away, we identify it as a horse. This is a conceptual thought, a form that rises in our mind. And so all movement of emptiness coalesces into phenomena that we see as form, and this form then rises in our mind. So no matter what it is a conversation, thoughts about yourself, something that you see, everything that we hear is a movement of emptiness, everything we taste is the movement of emptiness, everything we touch is the movement of emptiness, everything we see, and everything we think is the movement of emptiness. So now we need to regard this then as this omnipresent, constant energy that we are dealing with, that is not perceived in the normal way in which we believe we perceive things. It is perceived by our ears, our tongue, our sense of touch, our smelling, our nose, our eyes, and also we can have independent inner phenomena that arise in our mind. They have nothing to do with what we are experiencing on a physical plane. We can be sitting and be thinking about something that happened 10 years ago. So, but what we're thinking about that happened 10 years ago is also a reflection of the movement of emptiness. So all things then are a reflection of the movement of emptiness. Absolutely, there is absolutely nothing that's not a reflection of the movement of emptiness that we encounter. So this can be a very interesting thing or subject to begin to comprehend. If all things then are reflections of simple movements in emptiness, then all things are the same. If we smell something, if we think something, if we see something, if we hear something, the only difference is that we have conceptualized it in a different way. We have given it a different description. We have seen it as a different form. But form is clarity. Form is transparent. Form is emptiness. So no matter how we perceive it, it is still reflection of emptiness. So then we can take this and we can understand that everything is just one more thing. So it's just constant reflections of emptiness, reflections of the movement of emptiness that we are experiencing all through the day. However, we regard them as things to become dualistic about. We regard them as good or bad, attractive or repulsive, happy or sad. So we regard all of these things then as meaningful, when in fact their meaning is quite different than what we regard them as. So if we're reflecting the simple movement of emptiness and we are feeling bad about something, it has inspired self-hatred in us for some reason, or some degree of self-hatred in ourselves for some reason, some despondency, some anger, something like that, then we have to look at this and say, well, exactly what am I experiencing? Exactly what am I doing? I'm simply detecting movement and reflecting movement from emptiness, but look what I'm doing with it. Look what I'm doing with it. I am saying something is bad. Nothing is bad. I'm saying something is good. Nothing is good. All things are simply one more thing. Where we get off, or where we lose track and begin to suffer, is when we start to say that something is a good thing or something is a bad thing. We know this from past Dharma talks here, if you have been following the show, that we don't really want to be dividing into good or bad. This is not what we want to do. And the way that we can handle that is that we can say to ourselves, well, for the next 3 hours, I'm simply going to refuse to tell myself or respond to anything that I encounter, any appearance that I encounter, which again is a simple reflection of the movement of emptiness. Anything that I encounter, I'm not going to label it as good or bad. I'm not going to deal with it as good or bad. I'm just going to experience it. I'm just going to experience it as one more appearance. This is what it really is. Now, if we were to become what is referred to as completely aware, then when we are completely aware, we are simply experiencing everything. We're not being dualistic about anything. We're not deciding that this one is better than the other one. There's no aversion and there's no attraction. There's simply understanding everything to be one more appearance. One more phenomena coalescing out of emptiness, which we refer to as an appearance. We have thousands of appearances in a day. As you know, everything you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, think is an appearance. And these appearances are reflections of the movement of emptiness. So then if we're seeing all things as a movement of emptiness, then we can be very aware and we can be open to the next one and the next one and the next one. Now, there is great harmony here and great happiness here. The dualistic mind believes that we need to be dealing with something that we would regard as good over and over again, a series of quote-unquote good appearances, and that we would regard these as this would be something that would give us happiness. Let's say we had a day of what we would regard as good appearances all day long. Another day, what we would regard as bad appearances all day long. Things perhaps seemingly breaking, missing appointments, this or that happening. And then we take these days of good and bad and we translate them into mood swings and much unhappiness. Now imagine if we saw all things as just really the movement of emptiness. So as soon as we became aware that we were thinking something, as soon as we become aware that we're thinking something, that this is a good thing, then we think, yep, but look what I'm doing. I'm now taking this thing that I regard as a good thing, and is it really good? What is it exactly? The one thing I know for sure is that it is a reflection of the movement of emptiness and really has no basis in fact. So this is something then that something we're going to have to consider, and it could take some time to consider this. Now, I want to read a little something, and then I want to go back over it and explain it one step at a time. Okay, movement can take any form in the mind, convincing us of any seeming truth. The value that is in fact non-existent and is an aspect of dualism. So let's go back over that. Movement can take any form in the mind. Well, it can. We can say to someone, I love you, or we can say, I don't love you. I'm not happy. This is not what I wanted. I don't feel good. So on and so forth. Conversely, we can say other things. We can say, gee, you're great. You're my best friend. I really love you. Now, if we look at all of this and we say, well, but each one of these inner phenomena that rise, remember, there's outer phenomena and inner phenomena. So an outer phenomena would be a noise, the bell, was an outer phenomena, and then what rises in my mind is an inner phenomena. So what rises in my mind, then perhaps I find that sound appealing, spiritually enlightening. Hopefully it's spiritually enlightening. Perhaps I find it tiring. So however we're viewing it, that's dualism. So we can honestly say that all thoughts have a base in dualism. And what we wish to do is to cut the root of dualism. And this is going to require some very deep concentration and a lot of work, because mostly we respond to things in a habitual manner. We have habits. Our habits predate this life. Our habits come from past lifetimes on top of that. So we have this habitual behavior to deal with. And so we're going to find ourselves over and over again doing things that we have to become the observer of. So in our meditation then, we wish to see what are we thinking about and leave it alone. Then we become a person who sees our thoughts. It is completely possible and can be done that you see every single thought that you have all day long. You are aware of every thought. And you can also be aware of every thought and with an understanding that every thought is a reflection of emptiness. So this is something that takes effort on your part, and of course begins with meditation. Now, so movement can take any form in the mind. We can be convinced then, out of a dualistic and habitual behavior that we have, that this is seeming truth. So if we belong to a political party and we hear someone in our group, let's say, or any group, talk about something, and we think, good, that's the truth, that's good. And then we hear someone from another group talk, and we think, no, that's not the truth, that's bad. So now we're dividing into good and bad. So this is how it functions. But if we see that the thing that the person in our group says that we are seeing as truth, if we see that as a reflection of emptiness, and we see what the person in the other group says is also a reflection of emptiness, then you have to begin to wonder, what are people really talking about? Maybe they're just talking. Maybe it really doesn't mean very much. Maybe their actions mean more. The actions of interrupting life mean more than anything anyone could ever say. So, karma flows from these events. And extreme karma flows from extreme events. Now, so please do this work. Please do this meditation. Work hard. Work hard. Watch this again and again. Some of the comments that I've been getting is people are going back over and watching these videos over and over again, you know, after a few weeks or something, and seeing much more. Now, this is, as we know, if you have read a book, a Buddhist book, a Dharma book, if you've read that book 3 months ago, 2 years ago, something, as we look at it again the second time or the third time, each time we pick it up and we read it again, we get much more from it, because we have this understanding now that this is something that I see that I didn't see the first time. I didn't hear this the first time. I was too busy looking at this. I was too busy concentrating on this. So in these tapes, or excuse me, these podcasts that are here and present for you, in these podcasts, if you go back over them, and what I'm hearing from people is by going back over them from weeks before, you will hear things that you didn't hear the first time, and you will educate yourself in that way. So keep them, play them. Now, so I have a terrific question, and with this question, I would like to, first I'm just going to read the question, because it's kind of a long question, but I'll just read it. Okay, I'm an elementary school teacher who has been teaching little ones for 30 years now. Currently, I'm teaching a class of 26 8-year-olds. My problem is that I'm running out of energy at a very fast rate, and it's getting worse with progressing age. I've noticed that if I meditate in the morning before work, I have a lot of extra energy, but it's used up twice as quickly, and I feel I'm being drained even more keenly. Entering into my workday at school feels like getting onto a roller coaster ride with no second to catch a single breath of thought. When the last of the kids leaves for home, I feel as if I have been run over by a train. It helps, and I suspect that it's the very thing that keeps me alive, to meditate in the afternoon and replenish my energy, at least for the evening. Is there anything I can do to preserve a decent energy level, even at times when I don't get a chance to pay attention to anything else than the all-encompassing presence of the kids? Now, I wrote an answer, which I will read, and then I will go back and explain this answer, or discuss this answer. Your energy is being drained quickly after morning meditation because you are still attached to the peaceful meditative state. When you encounter more appearances, the children, you are seeing this as a loss rather than simply the next appearance flowing through your mind. There is a simple way to counter this. Meditate on love. Your object of meditation should be love and loving kindness. When you next encounter the children, your love for them will give you even more energy. If we are filled with love for all whom we encounter, we will only feel love and not exhaustion. So, let me discuss this. Your energy is being drained quickly after morning meditation because you are still attached to the peaceful meditative state. Now, when we meditate, we're very relaxed. When we rise from meditation, we can feel that something disturbs us. The very next appearance could disturb us, or an appearance down, down the road here could disturb us. And we may feel initially like our meditative state has been taken away from us. What we want here is that we don't want to see this as loss. That's seeing loss, and there is no loss. That loss is our perception. If we are a meditator and we have meditated that morning, and the next appearance that appears to us is jarring, or takes our energy, or there's a burden there that we need to deal with, and as dealing with all these 26, 8-year-olds, there's quite a burden there. We need to understand that this is not the loss that we think it is, that this is simply the next appearance flowing through our mind, and that we can continue to hold on to that peaceful state. Now, the way to hold on to that peaceful state is not to cling to it, not to grasp at it. We cannot grasp at anything successfully, and neither can we control anything. So what we wish to do is meditate on love, so that we love each individual that we encounter during the day. So by loving each individual during the day, by loving each individual that we encounter, here you have 26 of them that you can love. Now maybe they appear to be not lovable. Maybe some of them appear to be have a lot of energy and very little respect, let's say. Others probably do have a lot of respect, and yet others probably really want to learn. But when we have this, if we have love for each, true unconditional love for each one of them, then each one of them inspires us. Each one of them inspires peace and transcendence within ourselves. So this meditation in the morning then lasts all day. It can't stop. So there's this idea that during meditation we are peaceful during meditation, and then that's it. And then after meditation we won't be peaceful again until we meditate again. That outside life disturbs us, that things happen and disturbs us. This is not reality. The reality is that we swing into these things and we find them as bad. So we're dividing into good and bad. Meditation is good. The appearance that comes next in that day is bad. This is not the case. This is dualism. If we see that meditation is a refreshing breath, and we rise from meditation and we go about our day, and the very next thing that occurs appears to be jarring, it's not really jarring. It's just another appearance. And but yet, if we want to cling to that state of meditation, then it will be jarring. If we understand it as these children, 26 reflections of emptiness, 26 reflections of the movement of emptiness that are just moving. They're just movement personified. And so if we have love for them, then we are inspired by each one. We are always inspired by those we love. Always. We find something wonderful about them. We find something good about them. So for each and every one of them, then, we are inspired by these that we love. And if you have 26 of them in front of you for 6 hours a day, or whatever it is, then I think you have 26 objects of love in front of you. Now, something else you could do is that you can see each one of these as you're in front of them. Each one is Buddha. Okay? So you have 26 8-year-old Buddhas in front of you. This may inspire you to love. Love more. So love is the answer here. Love and loving kindness is the answer here. Don't cling to the meditative state. Take it with you. Don't cling to it. Meditate on love and love everyone that you come into contact with. If you love everyone you come into contact with, you will have more energy than you can imagine, because your life will be based not on the idea that something is being taken away from you, but more on the idea that something is being given to you. On a constant basis, you are being given love on a constant basis. So, I hope that helps. Please let me know how you're doing with it. Now, so that's it for today. And thank you again. And please continue to watch Dharma.tv. And I'll see you next time.